Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem, another beautiful morning here, Mamash in Eretz Yisrael, sun shining. Baruch Hashem. We got a wake-up call this morning. Baruch Hashem, but I was up. I think some of us were up already, and so all right. What are we going to do? This is the Ratzon Hashem. Yeah, this is the Ratzon Hashem. Hashem wants us to get up to say Tikkun Chatzos. So some of us, don't take the mess. Okay, no, he sends get a big siren, right? The whole neighborhood gets woken up. So okay, say Tikkun Chatzos. Right? That's the way you can look at it that way. You can look at it that way. I mean, the Ishmaelim have their siren. They have their horns going at that time anyway. They're already they're in shul, whatever they're doing over there. I don't know. Well, whatever they're doing. What are they doing?
No, they pray, but they don't necessarily do it.
All we know for sure is that they play their tape recorder.
They have that
we
thing.
We don't know if anybody goes or not. We don't know.
No, it's on a Shabbos clock.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Nobody's getting up.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's learn, and we should all be able to hear. Hashem should keep protecting us. Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Let's learn. So we'll learn the Likutey Halachos, Hilchos Netilas Yadayim, the laws of washing our hands for bread for a meal. Okay, and we're in Halacha Vav. And today we're up to letter Yud Daled, so it's 6:14. Okay, everyone that's following along. All right, so today we're going to learn the idea of that we have to have a pas shalom. Means you have to have you have to have a whole bread, right? You should. Okay. Now that doesn't mean if you don't have a whole bread you can't wash, and if you have a sandwich, you don't have a whole bread, right? So it doesn't mean you can't wash, but if you can wash and then make your sandwich, right? As you have a roll, right? If you have a roll, so then wash, then cut take a piece off, right? Like we said yesterday, right? You find the well done piece, right? And you say the bread on that, and then cut the bread open and put whatever you want in there. Make a sandwich. You understand? Try to wash and make the bracha on a shalom. We're going to see now why. Right? Halacha Shulchan Aruch says that teaches us that when you have a whole loaf, it's more choshev, it's more correct. It's the right thing to do to show the importance of the blessing. Right? You're making the blessing on the bread. Hamaitzi lechem and art. So make a blessing on a full roll. You got it, right? That's not hard to understand. Okay. Because the main shleimus comes when we were talking about completeness, right? Completeness, right? You want a complete roll. You want completeness in your yira. You need to have yiras Hashem. We said that if a person has yiras Hashem, he has everything, right? If you have yiras Hashem, leads you to all good things. Like we say in the morning, every morning, we say Reish is Chachma, yiras Hashem, right? The beginning of our wisdom, right? The main thing to know is to have yiras Hashem. If a person has yiras Hashem, he's on the road to success. Okay. And we said yesterday we learned the idea that where do you get the yira from? Because you take when you're being botzeya the bread, when you're breaking that bread, you're breaking it from the place where the oven baked the roll the most, right? It's a little crunchy, that spot that was a little more, right? And we said fire is connected to yira, fear, right? A person sees a fire, you get scared from it, you stay away from it, right? Fire, right? Yira. Okay, so that's why when you see the roll and you botzeya, you use the darker part, and you remember, wait, why did they get darker? The fire. Fire is yira. Yiras Hashem, to reinforce my Yiras Hashem when I have my bread. And then we said if we do that correctly, then we can come to the Aras HaRatzon, we can come to this very special place of connection to Hashem, the place of bracha and parnasa, everything that comes from, all from my loaf of bread. Look what the Zohar says in Parshas Yisro. Kibasa dishtakach yira tishkach shleimusa. Any place you find yira, there you find shleimus. Right? If you find yira in a place, there you find shleimus. That's shleimus. That's completeness. So notice Rav Nosson is making the connection here. Right, I have to have a complete yira. I have to have complete yira. Oh, when I make my bread, when I use my bread, that's why the Shulchan Aruch says use a whole bread and break it from the place where the fire held it the most, where it was well done from that part over there, in order to reinforce the yira. Okay, makes sense. Nice, very nice way to understand it, right? Okay, this is beautiful words of Tehillim. We say this all the time. Right in Tehillim Lamed Dalet. When you have fear, right? If you fear Hashem and you realize it's all Hashem, you're not lacking anything. Right? People that have Yiras Hashem are not lacking anything. I know. No. Again, what is true yira? Realizing that whatever Hashem does for me is good for me, right? So if a person really understands that, whatever deficiency he has is not a deficiency because he realizes this is the way it's supposed to be, right? We only have a deficiency when we think it's something else. I need this. And Hashem is not giving me what I want. I need this, and Hashem is not giving me and not granting me what I want. So therefore I have a problem. Right? But if a person has true yira, and he realizes, wait a second, everything Hashem is giving me is ultimately good for me. The way it is right now, it's perfect the way it is now. Sometimes it's hard. Right? Sometimes it's very, very hard. But again, if you work on reinforcing the yira, you go through life much happier, right? I mean, let's think about it. We're going to start the 3 weeks, right? So we talk about the Mulchama, right? You had so many Yidden that were in the darkest places that man has ever seen, right? The darkest places, but some of them were at peace. I don't know how. I don't understand it. But you read. I spoke to people. There were those that were in the gates of hell. And no one said it was easy. I'm not saying it was easy. But again, like we're saying, ki ein machsa lireyav, right? In other words, when someone has true fear, and they realize this is what I don't understand why Hashem wants. I have no idea. Right? Could anyone have understood when they were in Auschwitz or any of those places and why Hashem wanted that? No one understood it, but those that had the year, and they most of those people survived. Right? Those are the people that survived. The ones that were lacking everything, they didn't make it. They did not make it. Okay. Right, you want to bebechinas tzadik oichel l'savoya nafshay sevilla. Right, you want to have a satiation. Right, but he's being satiating his nafshay, his nefesh, not his guf. The tzaddik is eating to satiate his nefesh, his soul. Because when you have yiras Hashem, you're feeding the soul. That's what the soul needs. So when you eat in that way. So then you're actually you're satiating the soul. Wow, it says the opposite way, right? When it comes to the Rishayim, the stomachs of the Rishayim, they're always lacking. They always need more. They don't have enough. They need more food. Give me more. They need more. The bellies of the wicked are always lacking. They're always lacking. But when it comes to the tzaddikim, right? When it says that by tzaddik oichel l'savei nafshi, he's eating to satiate his nefesh. V'ikka hasaviyah who al yedei ha'oris harotzon, all through this oris harotzon bechinas paisech zadecha umaspia l'chol chai rotzon, right? HaKadosh, you see, look at the words, right? It says paisech zadecha umaspia l'chol chai rotzon. Why rotzon? Oh, that's the place of rotzon, right? That's the place of rotzon we're talking about, right? You see that? You understand? When I have my sandwich, when I have my bread, right? You say paisech zadecha umaspia l'chol chai rotzon. Right? We say those words, right? And we really put out our hands, right? We want Hashem to fill up with what we need, right? So what is Paisech? Is to open up your Paisech Zedech, Umaspia, you satiate l'chol, right? Umaspia l'chol chai rotzon, right? Chai rotzon, rotzon, the place of rotzon. So when I'm eating my sandwich and I realize, wait, Hashem, you gave me this bread. You made this bread, Hashem. It's not the baker. Yes, the baker baked the bread. But it was you that gave the baker the wherewithal in order to make the bread. So Hashem, it's your bread. I'm eating your bread. And here's how it culminates in this way. You come to the place of rotzon through your eating. Now, if you want to get to the Aras HaRotzon, it comes through urine. This is the same like we said by Kriya Shema, right? You say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, brings the person up to the place of Rotzon. He can come to that highest place of Rotzon. He can come to the place of Keter. He can come to that great place. Why? Because again, you're being Mekabel Ol Malchus Shemayim. Right? So Mekabel Ol Malchus Shemayim, that's again Yira. You realize, oh, wait a second, Hashem, you're in control. I can do the same thing when I'm eating. I can do the same thing when I'm having my meal. That's the main chashivas. Again, the main importance is when you have something that's complete, right? So let's say you're washing over a pita. Before you fill the pita up, wash with the full pita, right? Wash with whatever you're having a roll, whatever you're eating, right? Whatever you're eating. Wash with and make the blessing on the complete piece, on the complete roll, the complete pita, whatever you have, right? Loaf, or whatever you're gonna have, okay? And then fill it up. In Siman Hay, in Likutey Moran in Siman Hay in lesson 5, Yiras Hashem, the treasure is what? Yiras Hashem, right? Yiras Hashem is the Yitzray. So we say like this, just one other thing. Let's see. Actually, we're going to leave it for another time. Yiras Hashem, He Yitzray. Let's leave it like that. Yiras Hashem, He Yitzray. Right? The Yitzray, the true Yitzray, the true treasure is Yiras Hashem. When a person has Yiras Hashem, that's the true Yitzhak, right? We say like this: Hakol bidei Shemayim, right? Chutz meyiras Shemayim, right? We know those words, right? Hakol bidei Shemayim, everything is via heaven. Chutz meyiras Shemayim, right? Right, except for fear. So how is it understood that Hakol bidei Shemayim is everything I ask for, right? If I need a new car, I need a new apartment, I need a new refrigerator, whatever I'm asking for, right? That goes. They have to decide: is that really good for me? Is that ultimately good for me, right? They have to decide because I think it's good for me because I saw a commercial, right? I saw an advertisement. So I need this. I need this, right? But in Shemayim, they're making a decision. Let's see, is this really good for the person? But if the person asks for Yiras Shemayim, that's certainly good. So Kol bidei Shemayim, everything is bidei Shemayim, chutz meyiras Shemayim. Because if you ask Hashem for Yiras Shemayim, that's definitely good for you, like we're learning. So that you'll certainly get. You just have to ask for it, right? You have to ask for the Yiras Shemayim. Hakol b'dei shemayim chutz miyira shemayim. Okay, here we go. Then we understand that. We understand now why we have to use a full loaf, and we're making the connection of the full loaf to connect it to the completeness of yira. Right? The same way I have to have a complete yira, and if I have a complete yira, then I'm not lacking anything. Right? Because if I have yira, I'm not lacking. If I'm eating to be seveya my nefesh, I'm also not lacking. But if I'm only eating for the sake of eating, so we said the bet in Rishoyim is always tefsa, right? The stomachs of the Rishoyim, the wicked ones, are always lacking. They can eat, but they don't feel satiated. They don't feel satisfied, right? But if you're eating and you're eating the right way, you even eat a little, whatever you're eating, you feel, wow, this is from you, Hashem. You feel so good. It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling, and you can come to that connection and closeness to Hashem via eating. That's fascinating. Any questions on that? No? Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Okay. Now we're gonna switch gears. Now we're going to go. So we originally talked about the idea of bread, and what constitutes to make something bread. It has to have flour and water, right? Flour and water makes it the possibility to be bread. If you use flour and juice, so then that's the question: is it a mizonos, right? Right? Because again, if you're using juice, it can't really become true matzah. Right, but then it becomes matzah shira. Right, it becomes a different. It's a different state, a different type of matzah. Right, matzah like we use on Pesach has to be flour and water. So all bread has to start out with flour and water. If it starts out with flour and water, that makes it has the possibility of being matzah. Oh, and then I add more things to it, but it has the property of matzah in it. Remember we learned that?
Right.
Right, there's the property of matzah in my loaf of bread because it started out as flour and water. Oh, I put more things into it. Okay, fine. I did, and it's bread now. But inside the bread, there's still some matzah there. Right?
Is this spelt? Is that a motzi on spelt?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the grains. Yeah. It's one of the grains. Yeah. Right? Okay. But I mean, wheat is the best one. Right. Wheat is the best one because in the order that it's listed in the psukim, it says chita. Eretz chita. Right? So chita always goes first, so wheat is always first. Okay? Here we go. Now test vav. V'chol ze'u b'chinas Pesach. All this is connected to Pesach. Wow, how do you like that? V'ayin b'hilchas petach hamor halacha daled. We're going to get to that, right? We're going to learn about the ideas, the laws of petach chamor, right? If you have the firstborn of the chamor, right? You have to be poda, you have to redeem the firstborn of the chamor. So we're going to learn about that, but this is where this is coming from. Shamavaya kama devara me'inyan matzah itza chametz. Now through that lesson, okay, Alpi Divarenu, as we spoke about Yisbarach Oid Bechazda Yisbarach, and we'll speak a lot more about it. So here we go. Baklal. Ki ikar shleimus adam shenivra b'shriloi. Right? Shenivra b'shriloi hu sheyechaber dorei mala v'dorei mata. The whole point that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, He created everything in the world for us to use, to recognize Him, right? Hashem created everything in the world for us to recognize Him. He wants us to recognize what He created, and how beautiful it is if you go by sometimes and you see some beautiful mountains and you see some beautiful landscape, and you say to yourself, "Rabu Masecha Hashem." Well, look how beautiful what you made, Hashem is. Right? That's what Hashem wants us to do. Right? He wants us to connect this world to the next world, right? This world and the next world, right? So we learned the concept of this world and the next world when we have a child and a father, right? So if the father teaches the child, and then after 120 the father leaves the world and he goes to the next world, and his child is still in this world, and he's performing the mitzvahs, right? And he's following what the father taught him. So then that means the father is actually in the next world, and he's in this world at the same time. Because his son is an extension of him. So the father's not here, but yet the son is doing the same things the father did, right? That he taught him to do. So he's in the next world and he's in this world. So there's a concept of connecting this world to the next world. Right? We have the same idea, the concept we're going to learn about when it comes to we're going to learn about why the Korban Pesach was so special. The Korban Pesach was a very special korban because if you think about it, where was the Korban Pesach brought? In Egypt. The first Korban Pesach,
was the first one.
right? The first Korban Pesach was brought in Egypt,
Right, yeah.
in the most the defiled place of the whole world at that time, right? The Makam Tumah of the world, but we would still be able to. We brought a Korban Pesach in that place. We're going to learn about it. It's very interesting. People don't think about that.
Right.
Really, the first Korban Pesach was brought in Egypt. Okay. שזה עניין בשלמוס נעשה רק על ידי צדיק הדור הגדול במעלה מאוד שידע לאור דורי מעלה בדורי מטה בחינס ככל בשמיים ובארץ. And the tzaddikim, right? The tzaddikim are always connecting the upper people to the lower people, connecting the next world. We know all the tzaddikim would always go connect. They would always connect to the next world. And they would be in this world, right? The tzaddikim would do that, right? They would go upstairs, right? We know that many stories of tzaddikim. They would go and they would be up on high while they were down in this world. They would connect. To join them, bind them to be together. That's lesson 7 in the second book. Here we go. The more we connect ourselves to the tzaddikim, right? The tzaddikim can be in both places. They're in this world and the next world. Dari Mala, Dari Mata. They're in both places at the same time. Tzaddikim can do that. While they're alive, they could be in the next world and take care of business in the next world while they're alive in this world, right? So the more we're connected to the tzaddikim, the teachings of the tzaddikim, so we can be connected to this idea of the Dari Mala, Dari Mata together. Kol tikunai lenetzach. And if we connect to the tzaddikim, and we're connected to this concept, no matter what happens to us, it doesn't matter what happens to us, we'll always be able to get back out. Whatever person falls into, whatever the person falls into, as long as he's connected to the tzaddikim, he's connected to the teachings of the tzaddikim, so ultimately he'll wind up getting himself out. He may be in a jam now. He may be stuck in something now. But he will be able to pull himself out. Ki kol zman shemakayev atzmei letzadik azay atzadik oiches biyodai umaydia bechol pam ki adayin Hashem itoy ve'etzlei. The tzaddikim are always there, and the tzaddikim hint to the person that remember, no matter what you're going through, Hashem is still with you. He's even in that place. Why? Because Hashem is everything, right? It's all Hashem. It's Ein Oid Milvada. It's all Hashem. Hashem makes everything in this world. So whatever mess I get myself stuck into, it doesn't matter. Hashem is still with me. He's there. But sometimes when you get stuck in the messes, you get stuck in the problems, you don't realize that. But that's why when you have the tzaddikim, they keep reminding us, and that's what can give us the thing to pull us out of the quicksand, right? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills the whole world. He fills the whole world with His glory. So anywhere you are in this world, what does Kol Haaretz mean? All, everything. Kol means everything. No matter where you are, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is filling His there. Will make it so you can wake up and the person b'chol pam shelo yisiyash b'shum oifen ba'olam. Right, the person should be able to, he shouldn't give up on himself, and he should always be able to come back, as the pasuk says, "Hekitzu v'ranu sheich li'ofar." Wake up and we'll sing, we'll give song, right? Hekitzu v'ranu sheich li'ofar. Those that are dwelling in the dirt. Now that's normally talking about Tchias HaMesim, right? That's what that was. But we're saying that even when people are alive. Right? Sometimes people are sitting like they're stuck in the offer, they're stuck in the thing, so they'll be able to get up also. Okay, b'chol zeh hu bechinas Pesach shu ha'geula rishona shehoisa ayidei Moshe Rabbeinu. That's Pesach. Pesach was the first geula through Moshe Rabbeinu. Here's your tzaddik. Moshe Rabbeinu was the tzaddik. The geula came through Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? We were in the biggest mess. Right? No, we were never in a bigger mess than we were in Mitzrayim. Right? We were in the 49th level of Tumah, with no possibility of getting out. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, through Moshe Rabbeinu. Hu ikar bechinas harabi amiti sheyachal lahara b'dari mata ulekashram ulechlolam yachad k'Moshe mevayasham. He can always, the Moshe Rabbeinu can connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to the down here. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was up on high. Right? He went to Shemayim. And he connected back down here, right? We were standing on Har Sinai, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was talking to us. We said, no, we need Moshe Rabbeinu to talk to us. Please, Hashem, you tell him and let him tell it to us. You're too strong, Hashem. We can't, we're too powerful. Your words, we need you, Hashem. So we always need that connection to the tzaddikim, right? Even at Kabbalah Satorah, we had Hashem directly, but we couldn't deal with it. It's too powerful. It was too powerful. We need the tzaddik. You always need the tzaddik to be that interface, the interface to connect, to be able to connect to Hashem. Okay? Okay. After, Begolas Hamar, Hazer. Now, we're in the pretty deep Golas right now, right? We get woken up all the time by these sirens, right? And all this stuff that's going on, right? And look what happened. Someone showed me yesterday in Australia. They bombed the shul, and then they destroy the restaurant, and the Jews they're petrified, right? Wherever you go, the Jews are petrified. You have this Meshuggah now in New York City, right? That wants to become the mayor, right? Look at this, a crazy guy, crazy people, amazing, amazing. And you know what the craziest thing is? You got Jews that are backing this guy. That's the craziest thing, right? That's the craziest thing, right? Yeah. In New York, the center, Jews are Democrats. So whatever the Democrats do, they're okay. So you have to be a Democrat. It's amazing. It's mamash amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Ki tikvaseinu v'chol gula seinu. B'fedus nafsheinu shonu merkavim v'oiskim lahamshech aleinu b'chol yoyim. All the pedus, we want to be poda, we want to be redeemed, right? And we're kavim v'oiskim lahamshech aleinu b'chol yoyim. We want so much to have the geula. We want so much tikva. We want have so much hope, and we want so much redemption, right? B'chol yoyim b'bechinas korva el nafshi geola. Korva el nafshi gola. We say these words in Tehillim and Samach Tes Yud Tes, right? Hakol hu b'koyach hatzadikei emes ha'elu sheheim v'chinas Moshe hu goyel harishon hu yia goyel ha'achron. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu was the first one to bring us out, and Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be the one to take us out again. Can you believe that? Right? That's what the Chazal tell us. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come back somehow, and Moshe Rabbeinu is going to take us out again. Halavai will see Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Wow. Could you imagine that? We'll be able to see Moshe Rabbeinu. Wow. Oh, he'll be the Goya, v'hu yiyah Goya la'achron. He will be the Goya la'achron, right? V'bechinas ma shehoya hu sheyiyah. What was, will be. How do you like that? Ma shehoya yiyah. What was, will be. What is that referring to? Moshe Rabbeinu. He was the one that took us out of Mitzrayim. And that was the first geula, and so Moshe Rabbeinu is going to take us out of this one. Oy, v'hu gam ata b'golaseinu imanu ki is pashtusei, because he's Moshe Rabbeinu is spread out b'chol dar v'dar. Right? They say, where is Moshe Rabbeinu buried? He's actually buried in the heart of every single Jew. We have a part of Moshe Rabbeinu inside of all of us. Umeir Banu, and he's illuminating us. Vayedei tzadikei emes ki adayin Hashem imanu. Through the tzaddikim, they teach us that Hashem is still with us. Right? We think Hashem left us. We think Hashem is not. Hashem is with us. Hashem is with every single Jew, no matter where they are. Hashem is there. Ki emes adayin Hashem imanu. Beim kol echad ve'echad beprotis eich shehu. It doesn't matter where they're holding. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is within each and every single one of us, and we have to know that, and we have to believe that, right? Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to understand that. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. He's within every single one of us, and we have to mamish believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. And we say like this. Now we go to Tez Zayim. V'chol zeh merames Pesach u'matzah amora. So when we're at the seudah, right, the Leil HaKodesh, right, the seudah. So we say Pesach, we have the korban Pesach, we have the matzah, like the bread that we're talking about now, right, and we have the maror, right. Ki korban Pesach zeh bechinas klal yisrael lomis. The idea of korban Pesach is connecting all the worlds. Wow, that's interesting, right? Pesach connects all the worlds. How does it connect all the worlds? Watch. Elyon betachtoin betachtoin be'elyon. When you bring the korban Pesach using an animal down here, right? You sacrifice an animal, you slaughter an animal, you bring the korban Pesach, you have the meat down here, the fire goes up to Shemayim, right? It becomes a pleasant odor, an aroma for Hashem, up on high. So the animal is down here, but it goes up on high. So you have the idea of Darei Mata, Darei Mala, right? It goes down here, it's down here, but the fire goes up there. So you have down here and upstairs at the same time. And the fire goes up, and Hashem comes back down here. Hashem comes down to be with us, right? That's the other idea, right? The fire goes up, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes back down to be with us. So that's the Darei Mala, Darei Mata together. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes in this world with us. Okay? Ika Shleima Sagulu, K'maych Mavai B'Sefer Sipuri Maisias, Ala Pasek Go'alta Shevet Nachlasecha, Go'alta Shevet Nachlasecha Har. Right? Vehu Shayech L'Torah Ki Merachem Ayin Sham. Ki Mevaya Sham. In this Torah Kimarachim, right? What does he say? Zeh bechinas karbana shebehema also l'reach nichoyach l'Hashem lemala v'Hakodesh Baruch Hu kiviyachol yored lemata bebeis hamikdash. Wow, the fire goes up on high and HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down. That's what the Torah tells us, right? The Torah tells us HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down. Right, Shabehema also l'reach nichoyach l'Hashem lemala v'Hakodesh Baruch Hu kiviyachol yored lemata bebeis hamikdash. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to the Beis Hamikdash. Chavre, we're going to see the Beis Hamikdash soon. It's going to be a Beis Hamikdash standing on Har HaBayis. It seems so difficult, but literally in a hair's breadth, the whole thing can change. Literally in a hair's breadth, the whole thing can switch over. In a hair's breadth. Remember, we have to believe that. Ayin sham uva korban Pesach heyer bechina zois bepele godol yoser v'yoser. And the korban Pesach showed it to us this in a wondrous great way. Shagam be'eretz Mitzrayim shoisem meleya gilulin. Even in the land of Egypt, where it was filled of idols, right? They were filled with idols, all kind of idols, all kind of things they worshiped. It was full. Malayim Galulim, unbelievable, right? Look at these words. Gam sham e'yem Moshe Rabbeinu ba'etzim koichoi sheyuchlu gam sham lahakriv hakorban Pesach ula'alois. How do you like that? Moshe Rabbeinu taught us this beautiful concept. That it doesn't matter if we're down, if it's down on, you're in this place, this disgusting place of Mitzrayim, with all the idols and all the immorality and everything that was going on over there. It doesn't matter. You can still find Hashem here. Look, you're going to bring your korban in this place. And it's going to go up. This defiled place, such a defiled place, but yeah, you can still bring a carbon. It's so beautiful that Reb Nussin's explaining that. Right? We brought this carbon in this place. We think about bringing a carbon Pesach. You think about going into the Beis Hamikdash, right? The Gemara tells us there were 3 sections, there were 3 groups. There were 3 groups on Erev Pesach, right? They would come into the Beis Hamikdash and they would close the gate, right? And the blood went out. Wow, all the stuff that the Gemara tells us all about carbon Pesach. It's amazing, right? But where was the first carbon Pesach brought? In Egypt. It's fascinating. You ever think of that, Rav Simcha? Did you ever think of it like that?
I never thought of it like that,
The only carbon that was ever brought outside of Eretz Yisrael.
Eretz Yisrael, exactly. Exactly. L'hoired es Hashem yisbarach ba'atzmai l'sham. To bring down Hashem to that place. As he says, V'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim. Look, we say this in the Haggadah, right? V'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim. I passed through, HaKadosh passed through the Eretz Mitzrayim. Ani Hashem. He says, Ani Hashem. Ani v'loish hashaliach. Hashem says, we say it in Haggadah. Hashem came down, and it wasn't through his messenger. It was Hashem came down. When we say those words in Haggadah, right? Hashem v'lo yashliach, without a messenger. It was only Hashem. Ani hu v'lo yacher. It was Hashem and nothing else. It was only Hashem. And that's the idea of this idea of being up on high and down below, all together at once, as one. You have the Darei Mata and the Darei Mala together. Here we're down in this world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes from up on high, and he comes down in this world, in that place of Mitzrayim. And that's the first time we brought a carbon together as a people. That was the first time. Right? People brought individual sacrifices. We know the Avos HaKadoshim, they brought sacrifices, but it wasn't a communal thing. Here, everyone brought it together, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to this place. Now you understand why it's so important that we say, Ani v'lo yashliach, Ani hu v'lo yacher. Right? Now you understand how important it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself came down here. Darei Mala, Darei Mata together. אבל כבר מבואר שכל זה אי אפשר להשיג רק שהצדיק מאיר בנו מרחוק. The tzaddikim teach us this merachoik, from a distance, right? Ki Hashem itonu adayin, that Hashem is with us still, right? Even in this place today, in Tavshin Penei, right? The year that right now, where we are right now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hashem itonu adayin. Aval also lichnois ba'kushis v'terutzim, but we don't come into the questions how and what and why. Just simply believe, emunah pshuta, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with every single person. And how do you understand that? Does every single person have an neshama? Does every person have a neshama? Yeah, that's how we're alive, right? Right? We have a neshama. That's how you're alive, right? What is the neshama? Chelik kamimal. So how could a person ever think he's not with Hashem when he has his neshama? And his neshama is a chelik kamimal. So whatever the person is dealing with, it doesn't matter. He has Hashem with him. Every one of us has Hashem with him wherever we go. Wherever we do, whatever we do, wherever we go, whatever is going on, Hashem is with us. Ki siyag l'chochma shtika, like we said, we have to always calm down the mind, right? Calm down the mind. The mind wants to ask a lot of questions. And that's what we said yesterday when you have the bread. You break the bread where? From the place where the fire held it the most. And that's the yira, right? That's the yira. That's what, when I realized that fire holds me back, like we said yesterday, we gave the example with the ladder. Right? When you're going on a ladder, you go one rung at a time. One rung at a time. You don't go skipping, hopping on the ladder, right? You take your time, go easy. That's how it is with Yiras Hashem, right? To realize I go up gradually. And then when I have to come back down, I go back down just as carefully. right? Because we said yesterday that most accidents happen on the way down, not on the way up. On the way up, people are more vigilant. They're very careful. But on the way down, they think, it's no big deal to go down, but that's where they fall down the most, right? Efrat kol echad ve'echad b'tchilas his karvusay. Each and every one of us, when we get closer to Hashem, when we start coming close to Hashem, right, then things happen. And we start to ask the questions. Oh, don't ask the questions. Just deal with it. Weather the storm. Weather the storm. Hashem is with you. There's a lot of things going on, but just realize that Hashem is with us. That's it. Remember that in the back of your mind. You always have to remember that. And anytime that He's with us, bechinas haschola, right? Whenever we're trying to come closer to Hashem, because then after the person goes back to his ways, right, and he makes his damage, he blemishes again, he makes his mistakes again. And that's why you always have to start again. See, Rav Nosson always brings this concept up. Always bring this concept up. Every day we have to start again. We have to start again every day. Every day we have to have his chachos. Right? Every day is his chachos. We know we spoke a lot about this. We learned a lot about that. And according to this person's low level, because now he's starting to come to Hashem, although maybe many years he was involved with whatever, right? Whatever it was, right? Whatever he was involved in. Now he's coming close to Hashem. He has to understand. He's got to still. It's going to be a process. It's not just going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process. Remember, Hashem is always with me. That's how I can keep coming back. I can keep starting again. The person will stumble, but he will come back again. The same way if you have a Baal Tshuva, right? Someone's starting to keep Shabbos, right? You're learning about Shabbos, right? So you don't tell the person you don't start the person with all the laws of Shabbos. He won't be able to do it. So you say, okay, this week you'll do this and this. You'll stop. You won't drive in your car, and then maybe another time you'll stop watching your TV. Another time you'll stop smoking. If the guy, whatever, he'll do things in a gradual way. And if you do things in a gradual way, you'll be successful, right? No one ever tells someone if a person wants to take Shabbos on, no one's going to tell him, keep all the laws of Shabbos. But then you can say, well, what do you mean? If you don't keep all the laws of Shabbos, what good is it? No, it's not all or nothing. Whatever you do is good. Whatever you do is good. There's an idea that people say that if you invite people over to Shabbos, let's say they're not religious, right? People are not religious, and they're going to drive to your house on Shabbos. So the question is, are you allowed to do that? Well, so if you know for sure they're going to drive, it's a big question. But if they live in a walking distance and they choose to drive, that's the thing. But realize when they come into your house, right, and then they're there for an hour, for 2 hours, or 3 hours, whatever you're entertaining them. So chances are they won't be Mechal Shabbos during that time, right?
Right.
So that's great. I have all those hours that the person is not being Mechal Shabbos. Look at the positive.
When we first started becoming religious,
yes, so tell it.
With a group called Etz Chaim in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And the rabbi would invite, he had 20, 30 people every Shabbos by himself.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And I remember the first Shabbos we were going to go there, we called him, we said, well, we got to work, we can't get there till later. He says, well, then don't come this Shabbos.
Okay.
Because he says, I won't ask you to do anything that I won't do myself. That's how he put it.
Okay.
Yeah. So they explained, we knew, if we got to go to Shabbos, we got to...
You have to keep Shabbos.
Keep Shabbos, right?
Yeah. All right, listen, there's many different ways that they do it, but here's the point. It doesn't mean, you have to realize you have to do things in a gradual way. Okay? Bevada EF leida kol zeh rak shemeirin by beoifen sheyuchel is chazek be'emuna ki adayim Hashem itai. You keep remembering that Hashem is with us. Aval chalila sheyichnas bekushis v'teirutzim. But chas v'shal, the person to come to kushis and teirutzim, questions and answers. like people, you have some of these rabbis, they come up and they say, well, we're going to discuss why this happened and why that happened. And I'm going to give you some answers on it. How does he know? How does he know? Right? Right? There are those that say that the Holocaust happened because of this. And this is the reason why we have no idea. It's a waste of breath. A waste of breath to try to come up with these ideas, and this we have no idea. After 120, we come to Shemai, we'll see the truth, we'll understand things. That's something. But down here, who knows anything? Ein hazman maspik levoya hakushos v'atirutzim. We don't have enough time to ask all these questions and these answers. Sheyei sham. K'may shemavoy sham b'Torah now. V'chol v'zeh bechinas matzah shenizharim oz mi'oid me'chometz sheloi lahaskil is chametz moichay klal b'chakiras of akushas. And the whole idea why on Pesach are we so, the law is so strict. Right? You can't even have a mashu of chametz, right? We learned that. We learned to have that beautiful concept, right? Because they're saying again, when a person is trying to get healed, he has to be very, very careful that he doesn't get the infection, right? The chametz is the chimutz hamayach. That's those questions in the mind that come that ask the questions on Hashem. Why Hashem are you doing this? Why is this? Why is that? All these questions, we don't ask these questions. Ayin Sham. Zecher V'Yimaru Es Chayeyem. When we have the Morah is there what to remind us that our lives were bittered in Egypt, right? Ki al yedei Pesach u'Matzah shayedei zeh nimshochen ha'oros ha'moichin gedolim v'atzumim miyoid al kol echad v'Yisrael. That when it comes to the night of Pesach, right? So everybody gets this ha'oros ha'rotzah. They come to this great place, this great mayach. Comes to every person, every Jew that tried to prepare for Pesach, and he's sitting by the seudah. Comes a great ha'oros ha'rotzah comes to the person. Achi yischazei kol echad b'mekoymai ladas ki adayin Hashem itay ki meloi chol ha'oretz kevoidai. So a person can come to that realization and that recognition that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still with me, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about me. Why? Because Meloi Chol Haaretz Kevaydai. The whole world is filled everywhere. Meloi Kol Haaretz Kevaydai. Kol Haaretz. That's everywhere in the world that you can be. Hashem is there. And when you realize that Hashem is still with me and I still have my neshama inside me. Zeh bechinas klalius ha'lamais. Until you come to this idea of the shtika through the yira. I calm down the mind from the questions. The shtika is the mind. The kushis that I come up with, the mind comes up with. The questions and the answers. To quiet down the mind. That I can come to this great level while I'm eating. Again, when the person washes his hands, and he does the right way, and he lifts up his hands, and he says, "Su yidechem kodesh u'volchu es Hashem," and then he holds his 10 fingers, and he makes the bracha Hamaitzi lechem min haaretz, which is 10 words, right? 10 words again connected to the 10 mitzvahs that it comes to be able to make bread in the beginning, to the first place, like the mitzvahs that come along with bread, the 10. Okay, you have 10 fingers, 10 words in the bracha, right? You have the eser mamorais, right? You have the eser aseres adibrais, all the 10s, right? A minyan is always with 10. You have the eser spheros, right? The spheros are 10. I mean, you remember all these things together. And then I take my 10 fingers and I put my 10 fingers on the bread, right? We said that yesterday, right? You have to have all your fingers on the bread, not in the plastic bag, right, Yossi? On the bread. You want to have it on the bread, right? And we said today we started off, you wash and you make the blessing over a complete loaf. You don't want to cut the bread. You want to have a complete loaf, okay? Right? And then you boitseya the piece where the fire hug the bread more, okay? Right? And that little spot. And then you eat that and you make the tikkun. you're making the tikkunim while you're eating that. And why do we say that you need the fire? Because the fire is yira, right? I want to have a shalom because I have my yira has to be shalom. My yira has to be shalom. That's why the roll is shalom, right? And I might say on the part that there was singed a little bit. Why? Because that's where the fire was, and the fire brings me back to that yiras Hashem, right? Which can calm down my mind from all of the questions on Hashem. When I realized HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me my bread, right? He gave me this loaf, this bread, whatever I made, this sandwich, this pita, whatever it is a person's watching on, right? He gave it to me, right? And that can help bring the person to Aras HaRatzon, to that place of Ratzon, to the place of Keter, to the place of all the blessings, where it comes from, all from washing. Brings the person to year. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable just to have to sit down and have your pashachos. And remember, the best time to do this is in the morning. The best time is in the morning because the mitzvah is to have pashachos. That's why people will say they don't have time for breakfast. I eat lunch. Yeah, people tell you that, right? Breakfast, have a coffee and a date and whatever. Lunch, have to have big lunch. No mitzvah to eat lunch. The mitzvah in the morning is to have pashachos. That's the mitzvah.
Morning would be till Chatzot.
Morning, we said really it should be within by the sixth hour. Yeah, that's
I was talking with someone about this.
Yeah.
Like about have to eat bread now. It really doesn't fit with my lifestyle, so to speak. It just meaning I find that it slows me down, and I don't like to normally eat breakfast in the morning. That's true. I like to try to eat later. Say they have something called intermittent fasting. I mean, there's the shittot. Okay. And he says, yeah.
You could do your intermittent fasting at night.
In those
you do the
days,
intermittent
when
fasting at night.
When they were talking about this, they're talking about people that wake up, again, probably ideally, even you're doing this a little bit, but, at the crack of dawn, because they're working, they're learning already an hour or two before Nate, they're davening, and by the time they're going to be having a bite to eat, they've already been up for like a bunch
5-6 hours,
5-6 hours, before. So that would make sense. I mean, that is ideal.
That's the program, right? That's the program.
Yeah, that's the program, but that's not the program that we're in.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I know. And listen, the program is also to go to bed when it turns dark.
Yeah.
These people stay up. I don't want to tell you what they're doing till.
Okay, but Yossi, again, we're learning what the
you're right.
This is he's showing you how this system works. This system works. Yeah. And what are they going to say that Chazal say you're supposed to have pashachos? That's a mitzvah in Shulchan Aruch. So how's the guy going to say my lifestyle is against Shulchan Aruch? I designed my lifestyle to go against Shulchan Aruch. So then they'll say, well, Shabbos, Shabbos, that doesn't fit with you. I mean, I have a deal to do. So the rabbis are telling you. That's how it goes. You start with one thing and it goes like this. Well, the rabbis he told me to eat bread. I don't eat bread. So the rabbis tell me this. Well, I don't have to do that. It's the same thing. What's the difference? Yitzhak loves that.
Yeah.
Right?
Very far.
You see, you're already not doing this. So then why do you bother doing this? Right. You already know doing right. So why do this, right?
Well, Baruch Hashem for the tzaddik.
That's what he can teach us.
Hashem's everywhere. Hashem's
Emes. Emes, right? But if the person says echta v'oshav, then Chazal say that doesn't really work either, right? Right? Okay, Yossi, here. This is.
I get it.
He's teaching you the whole idea of Yira, right? When you have Yiras Hashem, you realize it's all Me'ez Hashem.
Yeah.
And our health is really not because I just read something that some guide came up with, or some idea that I have to fast like this and fast like that, right? Rabbi Nachman said that fasting is not for us today. He said that. Rabbi Nachman said, I tried fasting and I tried all of that. That was for a different time. And Rabbi Nachman even said that I did so much fasting. He said that he feels that he damaged his body by doing that. Rabbi Nachman writes that. in Chaim Maran. He says that. So now we got new guys saying, no, but the rabbis don't know. No. Whoever this guy says that they do intermittent fast, who is he? Who is this guy? And the guy that says do intermittent fast, is he actually fasting? No, really. They say the guy that the guy that was singing that song, "Just Be Happy," right? He killed himself, right?
Really?
Right? Remember said, "Be happy," right? The guy, he committed suicide, right?
That's terrible. The whole point was just to be happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but you're not happy. But what is happiness?
Brian McFarlane.
Yeah. But Yossi, what is happiness? No. What? No. What is happiness? Happiness is when you're doing the Ratzon Hashem.
Yeah.
That brings the person to happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, you hear this, you're right. I get it. Which was the system here is designed so far from this system.
Yeah.
So that's all.
That's it. Okay. But he's showing you where he's getting it from. It's not. He's not just manufacturing the stuff.
That's right.
Okay.
Also, the guy that's eating this, meaning, not everyone has thoughts racing through his head that are seemingly negative Hashem.
Right.
Or seemingly, hey, why are you doing this? Or I would have done it. I mean, a guy might not even be thinking. I might be thinking about the sports game. Or
Some guys are not thinking at all.
okay,
Right.
But I'm not here.
But you have a lot of guys that do think and they ask questions. Right? You have some people like that, right?
Well, this is made for the average person,
Right.
That seems to be asking a lot of questions on Hashem.
Right. No, it's made for everybody because everyone has some kind of questions. You don't think everyone has some kind of questions?
The silence that he's talking about is silencing the mind.
I mean, there are some guys that ask questions. How come my team didn't win? Right? Huh? They question Hashem. How come my team didn't win? Right? As silly as that sounds, right? But it is right. I was rooting for this team, and my team lost.
Don't have any questions. It's not even right.
No, but that could be his question. I'm telling you, even on the sports side, right? You're saying the guy's only thinking about sports. So those guys have questions too, right? They don't have questions? Right? The guy's a financial guy. I made an investment. How come my investment didn't go? It was supposed to work. I have all the statistics. Everything was supposed to go like this. Oh, and then this politician said this, and everything got. Why did that happen? Right? Yes, you don't think everyone has questions? You don't think so? No?
Yeah.
I'm just showing you.
Yeah.
In some different ways. Right? They're questioning Hashem in different ways. But everyone has some kind of questions about why aren't things happening the way they're supposed to. Okay? Here. Shetrichen Lisbol Mariras Kaidim Shezeichen Lazeh Bechinas Ma Shemevaya Belikutey Simin Chav Zayin lesson 27 Ala Pasuk Hine L'Sholei Mar Li Mar. Right? What does that mean? He's going to say now, Mevaya Sham Shesholem Hu Refuah L'Chol Advarim Refuas HaNefesh Refuas HaGuf. Shalom is the antidote, is the healing for all things pertaining to both the nefesh and the guf, for the soul and the guf itself. Why? Because again, if you have shalom, so then the nefesh is at peace, right? And if the guf has shalom, that there's no strife going on within the body itself, and there's shalom going on within the body. So of course everything's going to be good. But you can't be makabel the shalom unless you have a little bit of mariras. You need a little bitterness. Rak Hashem is barach marachem olav ve'einay shleiach olav mariras kefi avoynoisav harabim. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very nice. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends us a mariras, but He doesn't send us the mariras, the bitterness, based according to what we've done wrong. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us something that we can be soivel. He gives us something that we can endure. Sheloi haya yachol lizbol rak sheleach olav merius kefi yacholtai. What we can accept, what we can accept. And that's why we eat the maror on the night of Pesach. Because again, when I'm bringing worlds together, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down in this world, and the reach nichayach ishe l'Hashem, and then the carbon goes up to the next world. We're connecting Darei Mala and Darei Mata together. Shu ikra atikun shezoichem v'Pesach. Zeh bechina shalom. She'oisim shalom bein hanefesh v'aguf bein yeminu small to the between the right and the left. Bein Darei Mala bein Darei Mata. Up on high, down below. Bezeh shalom efshel liskos ki im ayidei merirusa. You can't accept it. You can't have this shalom unless you have a little bit of maror. You have to have a little bit of maror. That's why we eat the maror with the Pesach. Meaning
on this night when we get this incredible illumination where everyone gets a little taste of Hashem, Hashem Aretz Loa, in this incredible illumination night, you still gotta have a little bit of bitterness.
A little bit remind us.
You don't just get the upper world.
Yeah,
you gotta be able to connect.
And the maror is the maror is the medicine. That's why sometimes when you take medicine, it's a little bitter, right? But it's good. But the maror is good. The maror is there to teach us that really what Hashem does for us, He's very kind to us. Because really what we're supposed to have, what we're supposed to get for the mistakes that we made, and the punishment is way, much greater. Much greater. But Hashem gives us what we can be soivel. He gives us what we can be soivel. And if we accept we accept what Hashem gives us, because we have full yira, and we realize that it's really for my own good, right? It's really for my own good, right? It's really for my good Hashem is doing this, so then you can accomplish great things. But you can only do that through yira. How do you get yira? Through eating your bread, right? Right? Through eating the bread. Because when you eat the bread, you pick up the bread, and you hold the bread, and you realize, Paisech is Edecha, Hashem, you gave Paisech is Edecha, Umaspia l'chol chai rotzen. See, rotzen is in there. See, the rotzen's there. I come to that place of Oris HaRotzen, the place of Keter, all through my bread. Okay? Do we understand this now? A little bit? It's a very deep concept. It's amazing how Nassim can bring this whole idea together, Pesach together with the bread, why it has to be Shalom and the Yira and all of these things. It's wonderful. Now tomorrow we're going to learn about why we have Charoises. We're going to learn about why we have Charoises, okay? So let's learn Halach and Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Today we're up to Zion, I think. Right, we're in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're in Siman Chaf 20, and I think today we're up to 7. All right, here we go. A lot of times people don't know that, right? With the Shliach Tzibur, right? When he finishes saying, he says when he finishes his Shmona Esrei, he still has to say Yila Ratzon. He doesn't have to take the 3 steps back. The Shliach Tzibur doesn't take the 3 steps back after he finishes Shmona Esrei. Why? Because when he's going to say the Kaddish HaSholem, right? When he's going to finish, he's going to say the Kaddish and he's going to take the 3 steps back. Those will be the 3 steps from his Shmona Esrei. So he doesn't have to take the 3 steps back when he's the Shliach Tzibur.
I think most, certainly for myself, but like most people I feel like do take those 3 steps back, and it's part of like, all right, folks, I finished and I'm winding up. I'm ready to.
But notice Shulchan Aruch says no. Shulchan Aruch says you don't do it.
This is when he finishes the repeat.
Yeah.
On your Shmona, private Shmona, so you take the 3 steps back.
Oh, at the end, meaning at the end, right? That's right.
He's a Hamavarach Hamisol Basholem.
Relying on Oseh Shalom at the end of Kaddish was
Exactly. From that's the second from the Chazor. Right. We're learning the laws of the Shliach Tzibur now. We're not learning the laws of private shmoni. Yes, private shmoni take you 3 steps back.
Right.
But we're learning that the chazan doesn't have to say it, but he should stay. He should still say "Yir Otzin Mefiv." I can leave you in some sort of goyali, right? You should always still say that. Even the Shliach Tzibur says that before he starts whatever he's going to say. Whether he's going to take out the Torah, whether he's going to do the Tachnun or whatever it is, whatever he's going to do, he still say the Yir Otzin Mefiv. Right? Okay. All right, that was the halacha.
No 3 steps back.
No 3 steps back, because he's been samech with the 3 steps back with the kaddish shalom when he says the kaddish tiskabel, right? He says the kaddish tiskabel, the full kaddish, and then he'll take the 3 steps back, and that's it. Okay, so the mitzvah we'll do ches tomorrow. Okay, everyone have a wonderful day. Kol tuv.